Did you know that an open source project started by just one engineer like 3 years ago is now worth more than $1.25 billion? And that project is called LangChain. And even if you have never heard of it, there's a good chance it's quietly powering the AI tools you use every day. Every tool that we are using these days somehow have used LangChain in either in the past in the development or currently. And from small apps made by solo developers to big companies like Replit, Klarna, and Rakuten, LangChain is everywhere. In fact, in one of the stat, over 60% of the world's early AI startups have used LangChain's code in some way. And this is a crazy number. Yet almost nobody knows how they built it and how big this has become. So let's dive into the story of how one engineer's side project turned into $1 billion open source revolution that changed everything we build with AI.
At LangChain, we build developer tools to help people build applications with LLMs. We launched as an open source project about 2 years ago. Along with the whole space, we've kind of taken off.
So let's start with LangChain. LangChain, what is it? It's basically a framework, a kind of toolkit that helps developers build smarter AI apps using models like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and others. But the magic of LangChain isn't in the models. It's in the way like it helps them think. Instead of just answering questions, LangChain helps AI break problems into steps. And these steps are just finding the right data, analyze it, make it better decisions, and remember what happened before. And that's where the name comes from. Language plus chain, LangChain. And think of it like this. You ask an AI to plan your next trip. Normally it would just tell you go to Bali, here are some top hotels, but with LangChain it can go deeper into that. It can search flights, compare prices, check weather forecast, book your hotel, and even remember your favorite destination for next time. And overall it's like giving AI a brain that not only talks but also thinks, plans, and remember. And before LangChain came along, building something like that was not an easy task. Developers had to manually connect APIs, write complex prompt templates, and figure out how to make the AI remember past conversations. Every app had to be built from the scratch. It was a slow, messy, and a frustrating process. And that's the problem Harrison Chase wanted to solve. In October 2022, while working at a company called Robust Intelligence, Harrison started tinkering with a very small side project, just 800 lines of Python code, to make working with large language models easier. It wasn't meant to be a company, and it wasn't even meant to go viral. But then something happened that changed everything. A few weeks later, ChatGPT launched and the whole world went insane for AI. Suddenly, every developer wanted to build something with it, either a chatbot, an assistant, a productivity tool, but they didn't know where to start. And there it was, LangChain, sitting on GitHub, open to everyone. And that was the point where it spread like wildfire. Within weeks, it became one of the fastest open source growing project in the world. Developers started using LangChain for everything. Startups built chatbots, automation tools, and virtual assistants overnight, everything with LangChain. And even big tech companies began experimenting with it. Replit also used LangChain to build its multi-agent system, which they called the Replit agent. Klarna, which serves over 85 million users, integrated it into their AI-powered customer systems. And Rakuten, the Japanese tech giant, built entire business workflows using LangChain across 70 plus divisions. In just a few years, LangChain went from a side project to raising over $125 million and reached a valuation of about $1.25 billion. And all of this came from just one developer's idea, an open source project that anyone could use for free. But this wasn't an easy ride. The project grew faster than anyone could handle, and with the success, there were some challenges as well. There were issues with documentations, no real business plan, and an unpredictable community of thousands of developers constantly requesting new features. Yet somehow, Harrison and his growing team managed to turn this chaos into momentum. They built an entire ecosystem around LangChain, tools like LangSmith for debugging AI workflows, LangServe for deploying them, and LangGraph for connecting multiple AIs so they can actually work together like a team. They launched more and more tools with LangChain, and that's when things really changed. LangChain wasn't just a library anymore, it had become a movement. Of course, competition came fast, and with this, more and more challenges did come into their way. Of course, competition was the first one. Other frameworks like Llama Index, Dust, and Semantic Kernel tried to do the similar things. But LangChain had something they didn't: an intensely active community and a reputation for being the first real bridge between developers and AI models. They were developing fast, a community was a positive point, and today LangChain powers thousands of startups and enterprise applications around the world. They have changed the time, and it's leading a shift towards what experts says agentic AI. But here's the thing, this story isn't just about code. It's about what happens when curiosity meets timing, and when one person decides to build something the world didn't even know it needed. And LangChain didn't become massive because it was backed by a giant company. It grew because it solved a real problem, and it invited everyone to help make it better. And I think that's the beauty of open source projects. It turns users into builders and builders into innovators. And maybe that's the real lesson here. I think the future of AI isn't just being written in Silicon Valley boardrooms. It's been built in home offices, college dorms, and late night coffee shops by people who simply love to create. And LangChain is a proof that one clear idea shared with the world can grow into something far bigger than the person who started it. And it shows that the next leap in technology might not come from a $1 billion lab, but from someone sitting quietly at their laptop. So if you have ever had an idea that feels too small, don't ignore it, because sometimes the smallest project sparks the biggest revolution. And that goes the same for your side projects. So thanks for watching. If you like this story, share it with someone who dreams of building something meaningful. And remember, every big thing you use today once started as someone's side project.